Exactly 1 year ago, I made a video talking about how much money my tiny houses make. These tiny houses are both 303 square feet each. One is an ADU in my backyard in Los Angeles, California, and the other one is a fully permitted single family residence just 2.5 hours away in Joshua Tree, California. In that video, I said that I was gonna make $54,067.80. Here's what people had to say. So because it's been exactly a year since I made that video, I thought, why not check in and see exactly how much my tiny houses have made in the last 365 days. The truth might surprise you. I don't know. Maybe not. That's clickbait. That's me saying go to the intro. Please don't leave this in. Well, a few things here. I started getting ready to record this video at 8 p.m. and it's 1 a.m. I give up. I don't even know why I ever thought becoming a full-time YouTuber would allow me to always record during the day, but here we are. Also, just found out that Airbnb followed me on TikTok, so I guess you could say things are getting pretty serious over there. Follow me there if you want. I'm still figuring it out if I'm being honest, but I'm having a lot of fun doing it. And also, it's the last day to enroll in Host Camp, my 6-week Airbnb program, completely designed to help you start your Airbnb business. If that's something that interests you, I'll leave a link down in the description below. Let me give you a little bit of background for those of you that are new to the channel. I do Airbnb, tiny houses, glamping, real estate, finance, all that kind of stuff. A couple years ago, I moved to Los Angeles and I decided to build a tiny house in my backyard, and I did that in the form of an ADU, also known as an accessory dwelling unit. That tiny house cost me $72,000 to build from the ground up. Now, the reason it was so cheap is because I already own the land. I own the single family residence. My lot was 6,500 square feet roughly, and I had the space to do it. So I decided to take on this huge undertaking to build a tiny house in my backyard with no previous construction experience. I was in over my head. I went into debt doing it. I paid for it through a 7.54% personal loan for $40,000 of it or so. And for the rest of it, I put in about $16,000 of my own personal cash. And then I made the very smart decision to put the rest on a 27% interest Southwest credit card.
I get airline miles. Said no millionaire ever.
A lot of mistakes made there, especially when it comes down to the financials of it. But man, I am so glad that I placed a bet on myself, because that tiny house would literally change my life in so many ways. And I met so many cool people and so many neighbors, and the whole fruition of the Robuilt YouTube channel, I owe it to my tiny house in my backyard. And so then I decided, I kind of did this. I kind of pulled it off. So why not try to do it again, but better in Joshua Tree, California? And so instead of doing a lot of the work myself, I actually hired a professional contractor. And when you consider all the land, the permitting, the design fees, construction costs, materials, I spent $165,000 to build that tiny house. Now, funny thing about that tiny house, I got so much for it because it was so tiny and I spent so much money on it. And I'll just pop up some negative comments here just to show you how many know-it-alls have told me that that was the worst financial decision I could ever make. But all to say, I set out to prove all the haters wrong and show everyone how much money I make on those two tiny houses. So I figured, let's jump into the numbers here. Where did I actually end up netting out on these houses? What's the phrase? My goodness. Where did I net out? Where did I net out financially? In life? I don't know, as a YouTuber. Okay, so as a reminder, this is my tiny house here. Again, it cost me about $72,000 to build, kind of going for this, at the time I was really into the modern rustic look. In all honesty, that was just the most budget-friendly way to put this house together. But either way, I feel like it's a little croissant. People really like it. The reception has been really, really great. So just kind of taking you through so you can understand how booked I've been. I used to do short-term rentals that were really just averaging anywhere from 1 to 7 night stays. And then after COVID hit, I moved to more of a long-term model on Airbnb, where I started renting my place out for 30 days at a time. I guess you could call it a midterm rental, if you will. As you can see, I've stayed relatively booked here. Any days that I do have open here is mostly because I closed it off so that my cleaner could have a couple days. Just because typically when someone comes in and stays for 1 to 7 days, a cleaner can come in, come out, clean it in 3 to 6 hours. But when someone stays there for a month, it takes a much deeper clean. And so I like to give my cleaner a couple days to come back and forth and get it just right. So as you can see, for the most part, relatively full. So how much have I actually made? So since we're in the portal, I'll show you that so far in the last year, I have grossed $183,345. And that is just on the 3 properties on this account. I have 4 or 5 accounts at this point. So how much did I actually make here? Let's see, let's pop on into this little biscuit here. So you can see I have made on this tiny house $26,350. $2,257.91. Now I do want to say that this isn't for the year 2021 or 2020, it's actually a hybrid, it's both, just because I wanted to follow up a year after I made that first video. So $26,357 on one tiny house. This would be a lot higher if I stuck to that short-term rental model, but again, I'm on that mid-term rental model, which is higher than long-term tenants, which are 12-month tenants, but less than a short-term tenant that's staying there from 1 to 30 days. So while this number might seem unimpressive compared to what you're about to see, I still want to reiterate that it cost me $72,000 to build this house, and the ROI on this thing is just absolutely insane. So not all profit. I know so many of y'all are already like, that's gross profit. What about Airbnb expenses? What about cleaning expenses? What about utilities? I'm Karen. So let's talk about the actual expenses associated with this tiny house. Now, if you remember in my first video, my spreadsheet was highly embarrassing. One of my amazing subscribers put together this awesome profit and loss statement that's a lot more official. And my favorite part is it's got this Chipotle calculator here, which shows me my ROI in Chipotle burritos, which, I mean, if you made this spreadsheet for me, this was like a year ago. I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you, and I'll search you out when I'm not recording this video. So anyways, jumping into the spreadsheet here, I have broken down this $26,357 number into basically two income sources. So there's the Airbnb booking revenue, which is $24,917.91. And then the cleaning fees that I've actually paid on this specific listing, which is $1,440, which comes out to about $120 a month. I don't do a lot of cleans on this place because, again, long-term tenant. So again, total revenue here, $26,300. So my loan / note, like what I owe on this is a little bit tougher to quantify because I did take out high interest loans on this.
Stupid!
But I paid a lot of those off, and after really working to pay down this principal for a very long time, I actually ended up at $28,000 roughly. But because that loan was very high interest, I did what's called a cash out refi on my Los Angeles property and was able to actually pay off all that debt and re-amortize it over 30 years at a 3.5% interest rate, which is so much better than the 7.54% loan I had. So after property taxes and insurance and everything like that, that $28,000 loan is now effectively $205 a month, which is $2,460 a year. My electricity for the year, which includes water because that's how LA does it, is $415.83. I think a lot of people questioned me on this expense the first time I did this video. A few things here. My house is 1,921 square feet. So when you divide the total electricity bill by the square footage of this tiny house, that's how we arrive at this $40-ish per month. Plus I have solar panels that really offset a very large portion of my electricity costs. I have water here at 0 because, again, it's included in my electric. Then I have supplies and maintenance. I actually padded this a little bit, but I have it at $600 for the year. And really my biggest supplies are toilet paper and paper towels. Now I actually didn't have to spend a lot for this property because I had people that were staying here for a month at a time. So I started them out with a couple rolls of toilet paper, but in my manual and my check-in instructions and everything like that, I say, hey, because it's a longer term rental, you'll be in charge of your own like butt wiping material after you run out, basically. And then I've had a few little things pop up maintenance wise, but nothing too bad. I think the most I've paid for a maintenance item, maybe $50 like a couple of times, but I've got someone in my neighborhood that will do stuff for like $20 if I need someone to address something quickly, like buy batteries or a new light bulb for the tiny house. And then pest control service, this comes out to about $57 for the year if we break it down from a square footage standpoint. And then lastly, internet, $153 for the year, again if we're breaking it down by square footage. There are probably a few ways to calculate this, but this seems like the most straightforward to me. So my total expenses for the year actually come out to $3,687. Not bad for this little tiny house. So that makes my profit after all fees $21,230.88. Now I do want to say one of the questions I get all the time is, what about Airbnb fees? Why don't you ever include that? That's already included in my revenue here. Airbnb only charge hosts 3% of their total reservation, which I think is totally fair. So after all my expenses were sitting at $21,230.88, divide that by 12. That means on this property, I make $1,769.24 every single month in cash flow. This number would probably be double under the short-term rental model, but I don't really want to convert it because it's less headache. It's my personal house and I just like having one set of guests there because I also Airbnb my house too, and I like it to be as still and calm and filled with reliable tenants as possible. Oh, final little thing here. How could I forget? So the Chipotle ROI, what I make on this house every single year would allow me to buy 2,831 Chipotle burritos. And if I wanted to add wok to that, I could buy 2,247 Chipotle burritos with the amount of profit that I make for my Los Angeles tiny house. You ready for the good stuff? Because I'm excited. I'm excited to share this with you. Just gotta, dynamics and stuff. Usually around this part of the night at 1:44 a.m. and this part of recording the video, I start to fall apart, but honestly, I'm feeling super jazzed because I'm excited to reveal the numbers of Casa Conejo. This is my labor of love. When I built my tiny house in LA, I had no idea what I was doing from a construction standpoint. And then when I decided to just go ahead and go all out and do this in Joshua Tree, I still had no idea what I was doing because I was managing this construction from long distance. The way I paid for this was mostly through a HELOC, personal savings, and a 0% interest credit card. And my parents actually kicked in $40,000 into this build as well. I actually built this for them. My thought was to build this, make them 50-50 partners, even though they didn't contribute 50%, so that they could retire. And actually, pretty soon here, I am not going to be taking any profit. I am just going to give it to my parents. There are a few little loose ends and tax things that I need to figure out before I just give them all the profit from this house. That's why I do this. And so the day that I can just start mailing my parents this money that you're about to see, that's going to be a cool thing. And I hope it doesn't stop here. Let's jump into the numbers here. Moving into my past calendar here, you'll see my June was pretty good. This is actually the first month ever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is my first month ever that I had 7 days available. Previous to this, the most I ever had available was 1 day, maybe 2. I don't think so. I mean, this was pretty much running at a 99.9% occupancy up until June. And then July hit and we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I was a little nervous. I was like, oh no, what have I done wrong? I'm like the worst host ever. But then I started looking at other people's calendars and nobody was booked in July. And then I started reaching out to other hosts in Joshua Tree and they're like, yeah, it's crickets for us too. This was, I think there was a record heat wave. It was super hot in Joshua Tree. Not a lot of people were visiting, so business was down. That's okay. Seasonality is very real in Airbnb and you should get acquainted with it because even looking at my August, I did for the most part book almost every single day except for this day and then these 2 days here. I had to lower my prices significantly because August is just not the prime part of the year. But that's okay because the good months really make up for it. And I just kind of want to show you what I mean by this. So we're going to start in December. We're going to take a little journey and I'm going to show you how much this tiny house has made every single month for the last 6 months or so. So in December, Casa Conejo grossed $9,467.20. That is literally insane for a 300 square foot tiny house. That to me, that was a record. I don't know if I'll ever be able to top that. I'm not going to take it for granted. I'm really happy that was such a successful month for me. Then we moved into January. I dipped back down to $6,800. Dang, wow, I can't believe I only made $6,800 on that tiny house in January. In February, $6,500. That's okay. No need to cry. It's okay. Everything will be okay because in March, we're looking at $8,479.74, which honestly, I meant for that to be a Mexican accent, but it sounded more like Mexican Russian accent. Again, 1:50 a.m. $84.79. That's a pretty amazing month. Not as good as December, but hey, you win some, you lose some. April, I'm pretty sure was popping, $8,095. May, $77.54. Then we slow down and it's $59.40. And then I think in July it was probably even less than that is my guess. Let's see, $49.31. So yeah, it dips down, but the high months really make up for it. So what did I actually gross in the last year? We're gonna go August 2020 through July 2021. Okay, so for the last 365 days, where we closed out was $83,131.02 on this tiny house. That cost me $165,000 to build. I grossed half the amount. Now, I do want to say that I posted this as a TikTok and it went semi-viral on there. And I said that I made $87,000. I made a mistake and I did that from August to August, which is actually 13 months. But either way, it didn't affect my numbers that much because we still ended up at $83,000. That's still so crazy to me because when you add this $83,131 number with what I made on my LA tiny house of $26,357, both of these tiny houses grossed me $109,488 when you add them together. That's what I made in gross revenue. So with that, how did this actually pencil out? So again, I have this broken out to you in 2 different incomes, the actual booking revenue and then the cleaning fees. My cleaning fees averaged out to about $875 a month. So that comes out to $10,500 for the year. So adding booking revenue and that, we get to this $83,000 number. Then we actually get to my mortgage here, the note, and that was $10,882 for the year, which my monthly mortgage averages out to about $906.91 per month. I know, oddly specific. Then we've got our electric expenses, and for the year, we're looking at $1,762.44. Water, relatively cheap, $654.12. Supplies and maintenance come out to $729.81. I would say 99% of this is supplies. What did I do from a maintenance standpoint? I really didn't have much. I probably spent less than $100 on maintenance because it was a whole new build, and for the most part, pretty smooth sailing because it was all new or under warranty. And then trash and pest control are actually two different expenses. I just didn't feel like adding another column and then figuring out how to make this model work with that. So it comes out to $771.80. And then lastly, internet comes out to $839.99. And so that means that total expenses for Casa Conejo is $15,640.88. And when you subtract that from our gross revenue here, my profit on Casa Conejo after all fees, Airbnb fees, property taxes, utilities, maintenance, everything, $57,040.12. That's how much I've profited in the last year on Casa Conejo. And when we just look at our handy dandy Chipotle calculator, I have made enough to buy 7,605 Chipotle burritos. If I wanted to add wok to that, 6,036 Chipotle burritos with wok. So how does it all pencil out? Well, let's see what I actually made in profit on both of these houses. So $57,040.12 plus $21,230.88. My total profit on both of these houses, $78,271, which comes out to 10,436.13 Chipotle burritos. Let's go! So if you recall in the first video where I talked about my tiny house numbers, I said I was gonna make $54,067.80. So I was a little wrong, okay? I was off. I made $24,203.20 more than I initially predicted. So to all of you that left negative comments, said I was stupid for extrapolating data, stupid for not taking seasonality into account, and all that kind of stuff, I guess I just want to say... Oh, yeah. $78,271 per day. Pretty good. So there you have it. That's how much I've made on two tiny houses that I built from the ground up, or, hired someone to build at the very least. Having no experience whatsoever really with construction, not a lot of experience with Airbnb, but I figured out a way. I'm not going to say it was easy. It wasn't hard, but it was hard work. I will always say that real estate is hard work, and if you put your mind to it and you place bets on yourself, then maybe you too can make $78,271 off of two tiny houses. It means the world to me that so many of you and so many other people love my houses enough to stay there and provide me a great income, and now eventually help provide my parents with an income. So that is today's episode. If you're interested in learning about starting an Airbnb business and that's something you want to do, again, there's a link in the description for you to find out more about Host Camp, my 6-week program designed to help you start your Airbnb business. Enrollment ends today. Hope to see you in class, but at the very least, I'll see you on the next episode of Robuilt. Don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the little notification bell if you want to be notified anytime I talk about my tiny house numbers and statistics and all that kind of stuff. It's 2:08 a.m. Was that a sentence? Did I say that? It's 2:08 a.m. That's my impression of my outro song. Anyway, I'll catch you on the next episode of Robuilt.